Hey guys, and today I want to talk about PJ Washington. If you guys haven't seen, I'll put his stats up right now. Yes, I know he averaged a career low in points, but he hit a career high in field goal percentage, and he became a guy who can play center and power forward. He's a two-way threat, not only as a center power forward, but a two-way guy who looks like, Darius Baisley's another guy like this, that these guys are power forward centers, but they can play, both positions. But even though that they're not the stereotypical size, because look, if you look at PJ Washington, he's 6'7". He's still over here averaging a block and a steal a game, showing his versatility, especially in transition. Let's talk about it. Shout out to Sam Perley of NBA.com. So PJ Washington spent most of this year developing into a two-way option as both the forward, power forward, and center for the Charlotte Hornets, and he solidified himself as one of the best floor spacing defensive big men. And as a full-time starter, I know he averaged like 13 points, basically a little over 12 points for his first 2 years, and it went down to 10 and a half, but there's so many more scorers on this Hornets team. And the crazy thing was he shot 60.6% on two-point percentage, okay, which is a significant margin across 65 appearances and 28 starts this year. And he's somebody, he has been quoted as saying that he feels like he really improved defensively, which I feel like he did. And he wants to continue to get better. He wants to become a better ball handler, a better finisher at the rim. He wants to be more comfortable taking off the dribble shots and on defense, going out there and being able to guard 1 through 5. He wants to become a better ISO defender. And that's something he's really excited about. And we know through the acquisition of Montrezl Harrell and, Gordon Hayward's injury led to some tinkering of the lineups by James Borrego, who's now gone, moving PJ Washington from the backup 5 to the starting 4, and Miles Bridges being the starting 3 on the year. 50% of Washington's minutes came from the center position, 48% came from the power forward position, making a continued gravitation from his last season, which was 46% at the center position and 54% at the power forward position. And in his rookie year, 12% at the center position, 88% of the time at the power forward position. So he's literally becoming more and more of a small ball 5. And although he got 2.5 less field goal attempts this season compared to last, PJ Washington's regularly finding ways to impact the game without it showing up on the stat sheet. And it's by snagging loose balls, generating deflections, or even clogging up passing or shooting lanes and contesting shots, or simply just spacing the floor, okay? Because he seems like a guy who has high basketball IQ and all he cares about is winning no matter what. He literally said, if I get 0 points or 30 points, being an X factor or a glue guy, I pride myself on doing both, okay? On top of the three-point shooter, PJ Washington has a nice array of scoring options, including his old school back to the basket post game, which he's shown that he can do a hook shot. And like he mentioned, creating off the dribble and attacking the basket will be a priority, which should increase his free throw attempts, which is just 1.2 a game. And PJ Washington was pretty transparent about the team's defense and how it needs to grow internally a bunch to keep pace with the rapidly improving Eastern Conference. He was saying that he doesn't think their defense was any good last year. Teams were scoring at will against them. They shot threes and all that, okay? And you need to make people work, and that's what he's saying. You need people to work, and they weren't really doing a good job of making people work for their baskets. So he knows he's got a lot of time to look at film, to get better and study the game. And I think PJ Washington is showing like he's embracing this role. PJ Washington is built on versatility and developed a knack for making sometimes intangible winning plays this year. And as one of the few players that's been on the roster for the last 3 seasons, PJ Washington has taken a huge jump. And he says, look, his rookie year, they won 23, and now winning 43 games this year is huge. And he says there's got to be put more work. There's been a lot of work put in, but there's got to be more. So he's just really proud of how the team has matured, and he knows off the games they won, there still needs to be more to be done to win. But this is a great mentality that PJ Washington is showing. And I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of all this? Is it just me who's thinking this, or are you guys on the same page that PJ Washington? I mean, if you look at this Hornets roster real quick, the Hornets on their salary situation is interesting because coming up this year, they're trying to move Gordon Hayward first off. We all know that. But they're right now 109, so $13 million under, or $16 million under the salary cap. And I think if you look at it, in my opinion, if they can move on, it's crazy that they're still paying Nick Batum $8.8 million. But if they can open up $42 million more in cap space which would leave them with like $55 million in cap space by moving on from Gordon Hayward. I just want to say. Pretty crazy. So I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. That's basically it. Also, Kelly Oubre's contract's only guaranteed by 5 million. Mason Plumlee is 4.2, and Jalen McDaniels is guaranteed by the 1st of August, while Nick Richards is not guaranteed, but his contract can become guaranteed after the July 7th, which is the last day of the 2022 to 2023 moratorium period. And JT4 has no guaranteed money after the 2022 to 23 season. That's interesting. Like and subscribe.